This is Freestyle. Uh, Roads are impossibly impossible. And just thought I would get together and share some random thoughts. I don't know what this will be looks like, but this is what it is. I think I'll be able to see chat in YouTube, and that's not the right. Sorry, technical things trying to get this set up. Um, let's do this. Sorry. Anyway, if you have questions or ideas or conundrums, post them in the chat. We'll see if I can get this up and see if it's working. Uh, okay, there's some delay, but there it works. Okay. Um, you're here. I know you have power to see this. I have power to do this. So we're going to keep moving forward. Um, and then one other place to look. This is flowing so smoothly. We, uh, do that. Sorry. One more thing. I think I can see chats and. Uh, anyway, don't know how I will see the chat on Facebook, but I can see if somebody is watching. If you could say something, so I see if it shows up in the studio chat, public chat. Anyway, uh, anyway, so some thoughts. 3 minutes in, and he's ready to go. Um, I just thought I would kind of go over some random thoughts that I have from time to time, or currently am entertaining, and figure out just process them or expound upon them a little bit. The first thing is that we call ourselves a center for spiritual living, and what does that mean to live spiritually? I think first of all we have to decide that we are spiritual beings. The old thing that's been around for decades. We're spiritual beings having a human experience. Not sure who started that, if it was Wayne Dyer or Ram Dass or somebody back in the day. But the point being, there's more to us than this bag of bones. It's freezing, and I have layers and long johns and all kinds of stuff, and it's still cold. That's my human experience. But my spiritual being is is experienced through this body, but it's not. I am not totally this body. Um, but I don't know what else I am. I have a sense that there's something else going on. So a spiritual living is reminding ourselves of the spiritual nature of ourselves, but also that all of life, all of matter that we see around us is, I believe there's a spirit behind it, whether that's a spirit within it, animating it, or whether that's a spirit moving through it um, from a creator level, demonstrating on tangible physical form. The answer is we don't really know, but we can surmise and kind of come up with things that make sense to us. And that's what we're doing all the time is we're adjusting our paradigm, which is our level of awareness and understanding kind of codified into a structure that helps us make sense of ourselves and life and our place in it, what's going on, what's not going on. So I think there's that. Um, At least that's the way it works for me. And I think including that in the living of our lives, in our consideration of other people, in our consideration of what's possible for us individually and collectively. I think that including that spiritual aspect and spiritual principles and reminding ourselves of their presence, of their omnipresence, really, of their activity happening on all levels all at the same time. I think that's important because it brings a sense of peace of mind to us, and it helps us make sense of life and what we're experiencing, all the data input we're getting through that. Um, so that is what I think of when I think of spiritual living. Um, and, is science proving or disproving it? I tend to think science is proving it. And another thought that's been randomly going on in my awareness recently is perhaps perhaps quantum physics is an atheist way of proving the existence of God. I don't know. That's just something that kind of came in and floated around for a while, and maybe so because I believe quantum physics is showing the tangible nature, and to some degree, let's admit, we like when science confirms what we believe, whether it's about metaphysics or whether it's about this, that, or the other, about the body or the life experience, or behavioral sciences proving how we can get together and live copacetically. We like when science proves that because it gives us some validation that what we feel, what we believe, actually is to the degree that science can prove it. Now, there's the chicken or the egg thing. Is science proving it? Because even when people say, well, we're proving it because we're expecting to prove it. We're having that expectation, intention, and that's altering the outcome. Okay, but again, it's all just like responding and us responding back to life and that play back and forth between us and the infinite or us and the universal. So I'm sorry, I just fair enough. Um, let's get back over here. I'm sorry, I'm getting distracted with that. Never happens. So again, I think we like it when science validates our beliefs or validates our faith that something is so. And then again, does it really matter whether it's the intention of the observer that creates reality? Like it responds to that expectation, as quantum field says, or is it that a sky god is responding to us? Whatever works, because ultimately we're going to be living inside of our paradigm and interpreting and processing and perceiving life and all the stuff that's coming at us through that lens anyway. So that's something. Um, and I think there's a misconception that we do all of our regular spiritual practice, and I go on about so much. And we do that so that we will have a better life experience, but also something that's deeper and more meaningful because it's not just getting through the day, it's, you know, engaging life at a deeper level and realizing that since there are so many, since life is infinite, there's so many layers for us to go out into or down deeper into or inside outside, whichever way you want to project that infinite nature of life is really showing us that we do all those things so that we can understand more, that we become aware of more, so that we have some sense of understanding and awareness that gives us a sense of certainty. And the brain, lizard brain, like certainty, like blanks. We will fill them in with whatever we can. That's why it's so dangerous to believe the news. I'm saying don't watch it, but I'm saying take it with a grain of salt because there's so many blanks that we don't know in the beginning, and sometimes we never do know. But at the same time, we fill in those blanks with our assumptions, with our bias, cognitive bias, or whatever, uh, and make the story make sense to us. We reform work for it to work for us, yet life continues to work the way it works, whether we figure it out or not. So I think that we pursue spiritual growth or spiritual awakening so that we'll have a deeper understanding of ourselves, a deeper understanding of life, a more compassionate understanding of all the people around us and what they're doing. Maybe we don't ever know why they do, but at least we understand that we don't understand other people. We never really know what's going on with them that causes them to do the things that they do. Yet I think we can navigate all of that from a more centered or more calm, more open and aware attitude or paradigm, as it were, so that as we move through it, we can be contributing, calming, centering, you know, helpful, loving things instead of furthering the divide. We also do this work, the self inquiry um, for the sense of it's called enlightenment, but what does that really mean? We break it down. It's the light in us, right? And becoming embodying light or understanding or life or the joie de vivre of things. And that's not some final destination. That's not some thing that we get to and then we're done. It's not like you get the diploma and then and you're free to go out and practice on your craft on the world. Um, it's an ongoing, non-ending, evolutionary growth, both in our understanding, but also in our experience and our belief about what else is possible for us. So it's the old. I think the first place I ran across this was Jack Cornfield, but he had the old idea, or I don't know if it's an old idea to him or not, but the idea of before enlightenment, you chop wood and carry water, and after enlightenment, you chop wood and carry water. We realize things, and then we go. We still live on this plane of action in this physical form, and again, that's why we try to be more spiritual, so that we can put that and understand more and offer a broader perspective to ourselves and those around. Um, uh, Obviously, we're not meeting in person today because I'm at my home, our home, and fortunately, it's quiet enough and there's no activity outside, so the dog isn't barking. So there's that. I don't see anything in the chat, so I don't know if this is working, if anybody's watching or whatnot. But um, if there was any questions, I'm happy to check that out. But it doesn't appear to be. So anyway, I will, and let me look in my file of random thoughts. Maybe I'll just keep going and see what else. Oh, I didn't start with a good joke, but I ran across one yesterday. What do you call a Frenchman that's been attacked by cats? Wah, wah, wah. Claude. All right. And there's a new thing in quantum physics that says that human consciousness isn't, for the longest time, science thought that consciousness was self-induced, that it was part of ourselves, but now they're starting to see how there's it's a localized expression of something, some universal field of awareness. And isn't that kind of what all of spiritual paths have taught over the centuries? That we individualize, and, the definitions and the paradigms taught are different, but it's still basically the same thing, that we are of something bigger, individualizing it, on this plane of action. And that it is it some outside intelligence? Is it some just universal field of awareness and consciousness? We don't know. But the good part about it is that there is, again, science beginning to theorize, and then eventually they keep working on instruments of perception that allow for it, and then or that can recreate it. And we get some level of proof is I don't know is the right word, but I think there's some level of replication, and that makes us feel comfortable with when we start noticing patterns repeat. It gives us peace of mind. And do we call that field of awareness God? We can. If we're an atheist, probably that's not going to work for an atheist, right? Because of all the misunderstanding of what God is with in the sky and whatnot. So, but it does seem like there is some universal field of intelligence that's available to us when we do the things and keep doing the things that keep us available to it. Um, I think that's where our ideas come from. So that's another floating thought. Um, anyway, I think it's been 20 minutes with 3 minutes of bad intro and one bad dad joke. So let me close with a let me close with a treatment that we can do on this frosty uh, winter wonderland morning in Austin, Texas. Um, but just know that there is an infinite creative intelligence, like we've talked about. It is infinite, it is omnipresent, it is omniscient, it is omniactive, it is omnipotent. It's available everywhere to everybody, and we are individualizations of that. So anytime that I think of myself, I think of myself as an individualization of that intelligence, that creativity, that infinite power and possibility that is all, moves through all, as all. And so it moves in me, as me, and through me, as I individualize it at the level of my understanding of it. And this morning and every morning, I work from the paradigm and the assumption and the declaration that my understanding of it deepens, my experience of it deepens. I find more meaning to myself, to my interactions with others around me. And as I do this, my ability to understand and express it, the willingness to express it more authentically, grows and grows and makes a better life experience for me and a better life experience that I'm contributing to the collective mix. That is also this morning, from this moment right here, right now, as I understand it. And it gets even more so as I understand it more deeply and as I experience it and push my experience forward into the known and into the unknown. Loving all this, I deeply appreciate letting it be so. I release it into the law that has already responded to it, that responds magnificently, immediately, and tangibly. And it is wonderful. And so are we. So it is now. All right. Well, thank you very much for being here or being here. Um, I didn't see anything in the chat, or maybe I can't see if there was anything in the chat. But anyway, if you have questions, reach out to us. Otherwise, we will see you next week when we'll continue our Back to Basics series on what it does, is the third chapter. Working our way through this slowly. But we'll look at that and see the way life works and what it does and dive deeper into that. We'll also have our annual meeting after the celebration next week is complete. It'll be a regular celebration. We're going to have Darren and Dexter Murphy as our musicians, and I'm excited to see what father and son duo can bring to our for our enjoyment. Thank you very, very much. Have a wonderful time. We'll see you next time.